step back and think, well, we've got a good governance program we're trying to kick in. We've got a supply chain we're trying to build. We've got a technology architecture. We've got these use cases, high value use cases, we've got a painting coming together. What are the sort of biggest gaps which companies, either Daiichi, you see in your own organization, or some of the biggest challenges which are occurring in trying to deliver this in your organization?
I mean, I think for us at least, we're still, I think most companies are, but we're definitely still on the journey. I'd say sort of at the end of the beginning, right? We have a long road ahead of us, but I think we do have a focus and a structure that we're going to help build to it. I think, our future state, we've been taking it more of a, call it continuous momentum. We've been trying to make consistent incremental steps towards the future state. And I think that, the future state is always going to be future. So better to look at it as small incremental steps as we go, and not a start at the current and a finish at the future.
Right. And so rather than one big leap, incrementally get in there and learning from that. One of the keys here is the journey to learn is different for every organization. So when you see the standards and how those standards are then implemented and used, the culture of that is the culture within the organization to adopt those standards. Really, it's its own pace at times, and if you force it too much, it causes problems. But I do think that there is an angle where the high value business use case and identifying those quick wins actually gives you the momentum, the snowball, as I call it, the snowball effect of driving momentum within the organization.
I think you're right on that. I think it's you have to, as said before, it has to be business led. You always have to focus on these issues, and you're looking for those couple issues that are solvable in the near term to give you those quick wins. I completely agree with that. We've been trying to do exactly that.
And if you think of a broader view, kind of your competitors or the industry as a whole, how are they early in the journey? How do you do a competitive benchmark or an analysis of data positioning in your between your competitors, or is it something more ad hoc in terms of what? So how does the industry? How are you comparing against the industry and your competitors?
Yeah, so we our future competitors, I think you would say, will likely be big pharma, right? So the big five or so, I forget how many we kind of count at this point. I have existed in some of those environments in a couple different roles, and I've seen data governance programs and associated data management capabilities, and they tend to be fairly mature. With the standards defined and the policies defined across their data set, which is great. I think that we have a road, more work to be done in our organization. We're a growing organization, and that's kind of where we are. One thing I did note in sort of the big pharma case is that there tends to be a whole bunch of traffic cop kind of associated with that, where, don't do this, stop doing that kind of thing. Or at least as a goal to try to both have the standards and policies defined, and also make it more of an agile governance program with the intent of helping at the point of usage, and not simply defining the policies. Now, check back with me in a year to see if I've achieved that. That's certainly our goal.
No, it's good. Good point. It's back to security again, where security is seen as a gate you have to hit and get through, and it's stunning people. So there's a kind of immediately there's a mindset created, which is a kind of fear culture, really, in terms of where you have to get through the checklist, and then it's bureaucratic, and I have to get through that. And so you're not knocking the security organization, got me wrong, but they have an important role to do. But it does it does cause a kind of mindset which we have to get through. And data governance could have that same mindset around a police car stuff, which you don't want. You really want to be, how do I follow the process together and get to an outcome together. In
exactly. And it's not to be. You have to engage in security practices, and you have to engage in data management, data governance practices. The trick, I think, will be to make sure it looks or it helps as much at the source of usage, because the goal is to enable that usage at the end. And don't just say no, figure out what will help use the data more consistently and better. So that's the goal. That's certainly the mantra we're trying to live by.
Right. And then kind of, if you step back and say, okay, 3-5 years from now, where do you think, data governance will be in both the industry and then also within your organization? How do you think this movement is going to occur?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I'll guess, but there's still an enormous amount of manual effort in creating these data standards and tracking and lineage and all the work that goes into good data governance and all the surrounding disciplines. I have seen and experimented with tools that have, AI-driven and ML-driven kind of leaders to help pull some of that. I look forward to those continued improvements. I've seen them, and I think they do what they do, but I think there's more work that I think can be done there. So I look forward to those kind of automated enablers. I think I look forward to in the future is continued sort of external collaborations and standard setting. In our industry, CDISC is kind of a standard that's been around for a while now that I think has absolutely shown the proof of kind of external standards to help manage certain types of data. I've seen other things like these fair data principles are coming online now to help kind of tell people how to add metadata and structure around some of the scientific data that's out there. So I believe these are kind of all, they're there now and they're helpful now. I think they'll continue to grow. And I think the combination of sort of the advances in technology and the advances in kind of external collaborative standards will hopefully help the question of data governance, data quality, move faster, better, lower the cost of implementation, all those things.
And, standards really, as reduce the friction in an organization.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Reduce the friction, and then that accelerates. It acts as an accelerator. And then so standards, one of the things with standards is that a potential mindset which says, well, I don't want to follow this standard. Why should I do this? I'm unique. Okay, you've heard those comments before. But, if we can get the message of standards across to say really it reduces friction, accelerates adoption of change, and allows that growth, which you mentioned earlier, to occur within with using data as an asset, strategic asset for the company.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.